In today's watercolor tutorial, we are going to paint these peonies together step by step. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Allison, and if you're new here, please feel free to subscribe for more art related videos. And now we'll get started with the peony tutorial. All of these supplies I used are listed in the description below, but as a quick reference, I used these brushes, hot press watercolor paper, and Art Philosophy watercolors. I first traced a peony drawing I did in my sketchbook onto the watercolor paper. To do this, I tore the drawing out of my sketchbook, colored the back with a 5B pencil, and then I traced over the drawing. I'll provide a download of the drawing for you in the description if you'd like to use it. And now, let's get started painting. I have my palette, which is Pastel Dreams from Art Philosophy. I'm also using green from their Classics pan set. I am using this, it's like kind of like a light pink color. I am first going to do a wash, which is just a light color over basically all of the flowers. And it's a lot of, don't use too much water where it pools, but use a good amount so that your color is very light. So I'm just going over all of the flowers with just this one color. Okay, now I'm washing off my brush and I'm going to do the same thing with green for the leaves. So I'm using this green and I'm going to mix a little bit of this purple in it to kind of not make it so bright. I don't like very vibrant greens. I like them more muted. So you can use whatever kind of color of green you want, but this is what I prefer. You can leave some white areas too, like I'm leaving some white areas in these leaves, like that. Alright, so when you have your wash all done, you can let it dry. So my painting is all dry now, and I will be using a size 8 brush. Wait, actually I'm going to use this large brush again. So I'm just going to do another wash. I should have just done this with the first layer. I'm just going to wash some purple in areas. You haven't yet started this tutorial, go ahead and do this step with the first layer. Here I started to outline some of the leaves with that purple color to define the leaves a little bit more. So while I'm waiting for the flowers to dry, I'm going to work on the leaves, and I'm going to use the size 8 brush, and I'm using this green from the Classics pan set from Art Philosophy. I don't like how saturated it is. I'm going to desaturate it a bit by adding a little bit of this purple, and then I will add a touch of this yellow. I'm still trying to keep some white areas of the petal, and then as the petal gets closer to the peony, I'm going to add some more green to make it darker. And I'm just taking it straight from this cube thingy and dabbing it. And I will blend it out a bit. Part of the leaves, they look like they have some pink in them. So I'm going to just, wow, that's a lot. Going to add a bit of pink. The painting is all dry now, so I'm going to work on the next layer. And I'm using a size 8 brush. And I'm going to get this dark pink color. You can't see it. This dark pink color right here. It's called Crimson in the Pastel Dreams pan set from Art Philosophy. And I am going to work on the dark areas of the peony. So I'm basically like outlining the petals that overlap this petal. And then I'm wiping off my brush with water, and then I'm going to just blend it a little bit. And then there's like a little overlap hanging part. Does that make sense? Like this little overhang. I'm going to do a shadow under that, like this. And I'll work on, I'm not going to work on a petal that's adjacent to that petal because that petal's wet, and if I start to add color to one next to it, the colors will kind of bleed together. So I will work on this petal here next. Alright guys, now we are ready to work on these two peony flowers. So I am grabbing this dark pink color, the same color I used for this flower, and I'm just mixing a little bit of water in it. So as you can see, like this larger peony, I'm first applying the dark pink color like this, and then cleaning off my brush, adding a little bit of water in my brush, and I'm kind of blending it with the water. Alright, I think I am done with this layer on these two flowers. So I'm going to let those dry, and while they're drying we will start working on this larger peony. The next step is to add more detail and to darken these shadows and these petals to make them stand out more. So I will be using this size 4 brush. I'm going to use this dark pink color again, and I'm just putting it on my palette to mix a little bit of water in it, but this time it's going to be less water so that I have a darker, stronger color to work with. So you're basically just outlining each petal. I'm going to take this other brush, it's a little bigger, and I'm just going to blend a little bit, and from the inside go out. So the inside of the petal right here and towards the top like this when you're blending. And keep in mind that when you paint with watercolor, your colors are always darker when they're wet. So when they dry, the colors will be a little lighter. And depending on the paper you're using, you might need to work fast because some papers absorb the water quickly. This paper I'm using is the Fabriano, so the paper stays wet for a good amount of time, but it does dry quickly sometimes. Now I'm going to take some of that dark pink color and then I'm going to mix it with this light pink color. And I'm going to try to make a little bit of, like, if you look at the peony flower, some of the petals have like lines in them. So I'm gonna go back in and add some lines. Alright, so next I have this white gouache and I'm going to add some highlights. If you don't have this, you can use a white gel pen, and if you don't have that, you can just go without this step. I'm gonna add a little bit of water to my brush, and I'm just gonna try to use the very tip of my brush. And I'm moving my brush in the direction of the petals. So next we are going to add more detail to these two flowers using the size 4 brush. So I'm going to take this dark pink color again. clean my brush and I'm going to add some of this white gouache in some areas to add some highlights. And now I'm going to add a little bit more pink to this flower, like in the shadows, because I feel like these two are more vibrant than this one. Alright, now I'm going to work on the leaves a little bit, and then after the leaves I will probably go back in, add a bit more detail, and then we should be done. So I'm taking this green color that's part of the Art Philosophy Classics pan set, and I'm going to add a touch of this yellow. Probably can't see it. This yellow right here is called Bumblebee, and it's part of the Pastel Dreams pan set, which is this one. And I'm going to take this green right out of the cube and kind of add it underneath the flower like this. Wipe your brush off, add some water to your brush and blend. I'm making this green a bit more saturated because I didn't really like how dull that green looked compared to the peonies. So I'm making this green more vibrant. It looks like when I look at my base of peonies over here, the green from the leaves reflect off of the petals. So I'm going to add some green on these petals, just a little bit. Alright, now I'm going to take this big brush. I'm going to just add a very thin wash. Parts of the peony, there's some purple in them, and I'm going to add a little bit of purple in some areas. Going to take some of this purple again. This is, sorry I didn't tell you what color it was. It's called Lilac Green. It's part of the Pastel Dreams pan set. So I'm just going to add some lines. I'm going to take some of this green again, just add it, like outline around the parts where the petals are right next to the leaves. Taking this yellow color and some of this orange, and I'm just going, because this opened peony that's like more open, it has some like yellow pollen in some areas, so I'm just going to dab that. Now I'm going to take this green, add some of this pink to it. Going to make some lines in the leaves. I'm going to fade that out a bit. There. I'm not worrying too much about the leaves because the actual blossoms are the focus of the painting, not the leaves. I don't really like how much these lines stand out on this leaf, and it does seem a little dull to me, so I'm going to add a layer of paint of the green, of the yellow green color that I used, and I'm just adding it to these two. I just feel like with watercolors, the color dulls after it dries. Like it's not as vibrant as when it's wet. Alright guys, I think we are officially done with this tutorial. Thank you so much for hanging out with me as I painted these peonies. And if you painted these peonies with me, I would love to see them, so feel free to post them on your Instagram and tag me, Alice Online Art. I'd love to see what you created, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more art related videos. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!